from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
A live look at Exact Track 4D radar. The forewarned weather team is tracking snow moving into southeast Michigan. Depending on where you live, the snow could make things slow for the morning commute. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kimberly Gill.
I'm Devin Skillian. We'll start things off here at 11 with forewarned meteorologist Kim Adams and the updated timetable here. Kim.
Well, the timetable moves in right during the morning commute. So it's not the amount of snow, it's when it comes in. Right now, look at the partially frozen Detroit River, 16 downtown, 16 in Howell, 15 in Pontiac, 18 in Adrian. Well, we started the day with wind chills at about 20 to 25 below zero, and now we are finally above zero. 5 in Mount Clemens is what it feels like, 7 in Lapeer, 9 in Port Huron, and 7 in Monroe. Weather story. Starting around 5 a.m. and ending at 11 a.m., we'll get 1 to 2 inches of snow. Now, that's not a lot for southeast lower Michigan, but we've seen this a few times over the past couple of weeks where an inch, even a dusting of snow causes all kinds of problems for the morning commute. Another round for the morning commute on Friday, and then bitterly cold this weekend. Once again, Saturday morning, we'll get those wind chills back down about 15 to 20 below. Bus stop forecast: if schools do not close tomorrow, this is what the kids will be facing at the bus stop. Snow showers, 20 degrees, wind chills will be in the single digits, and then in the afternoon, dry, 25 with wind chills in the teens. When? I keep getting this question, when is this going to end? Well, it's in sight, but we still have a ways to go. Temperatures remain below normal all the way through Monday, but then next week, we not only get into the 30s, we could get back into the 40s, but we still have a lot of winter weather to get through over the next 48 hours, and I'll have more specific timing coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Kim, and these are the times for which we built the Forewarned Weather app. You'll want that as the snow moves through. You can download it for free in the app stores. Just search WDIV. Now, with these cold temperatures, one of the biggest concerns is on for those who live on the streets.
Warming centers are opening across the region, and outreach teams are in the neighborhoods to find those who need shelter. We rode along with Covenant House Michigan today as they handed out gloves, hats, snacks, and rides to anyone at risk. Covenant House Michigan caters to youth and young adults up to age 24, but if you're a bit older than that, they'll still do what they can to help. Our Forewarned Weather Alert Day coverage is extending into tomorrow.
Forewarned Weather team will be tracking the forecast overnight. You'll have the most accurate information as soon as you get up. Join us starting at 4:30 a.m. for the latest, including whatever school closings are necessary. And Darnell Blackburn will be watching the roads with time-saver traffic. If you see or hear about any weather-related problems, whether it's power outages, problems on the road, whatever it may be, send us that information to our help desk, and we'd love to see if we can help. A Metro Detroit family is asking for help, in fact, after their son was killed in a hit and run.
So this happened last Thursday near I-275 and Michigan Avenue in Canton. Jacqueline Francis spoke with the victim's parents tonight as they plead for answers.
Michael Chiverton was temporarily staying at a hotel along Michigan Avenue, which was close to his work. One day last week, he went to go cross the road when he was hit and killed by a car. That driver took off.
Anger, hurt.
How could you just leave someone like that?
Michael Chiverton's parents are left with all sorts of questions.
I asked the police officer, you think he suffered? You know, because they just left him lying there. And I wouldn't even do that to a squirrel, let alone a human being.
Their 43-year-old son was killed in a hit and run Thursday night around 10:40 in the area of Michigan Avenue near 275 in Canton. The driver is still at large. Police believe the vehicle is possibly a 2010 or 2011 black Toyota Camry. Investigators are looking for witnesses to come forward, and so is his grieving family.
He had 6 children, and he's a grandpa already, but he's just going to be a grandpa in July.
His parents say despite falling on hard times in the past, Michael was turning his life around.
It was like a new beginning for him.
Right.
He got his job back. He got back with this girl, and they were doing good, and everything was just really looking up.
They're asking anyone who may have saw something or know something about what happened to contact police.
I'm not a vengeful person, but I want justice for him. And I think we're going to need that for closure.
Anyone who knows anything or saw something is asked to call Canton police. Again, that car that they believe was involved was a 2010 or 2011 black Toyota Camry. Reporting in Canton, Jacqueline Francis, Local 4.
Okay, Jacqueline. Current and former City of Detroit employees got some unwelcome mail over the last week. It was a letter informing them of a data breach at the city, and their information may have been accessed.
Mara McDonald, live downtown tonight. How many employees are we talking about here, Mara?
Well, Devin, if we do the math and we talk to the city, they are essentially saying that it is anyone hired prior to 2016, both current and former employees. So that's the bad news portion of this. The good news portion is that the vast majority of those, what was accessed were names, addresses, maybe a birth date. But here's where it gets a little less great. About 2,500 of them had name, address, birthday, and yes, social security number. Another day, another data breach, or at least that's really how it's starting to feel.
Fortunately, this is the world we're living in right now, Mara. Is every day you're hearing of someone else who's been affected by a data breach. This time it's City of Detroit employees hired prior to 2016, both past and present. Here's the letter they got in the mail. It's from Zeroed In Technologies, which is the vendor the city uses, telling them on August 8th last year an unauthorized actor gained access to certain Detroit systems and notifying them that their name, birth date, and in some cases, social security numbers were accessed, and offering them credit monitoring for 12 months for free. But does any of this really help keep your exposed data safe? Well, it's a fantastic start what they're doing. I mean, they've enlisted the help of a very qualified organization, and they've offered 1 year of free credit monitoring services. But people do have to take action and actually sign up for it themselves and use the code and get in there and log in and make the account themselves.
Matt gives Detroit high marks for its response, and he knows his company consults and implements security protocols for business IT. And he thinks whether you've been involved in a breach or not, having a third-party security option, it's a very good idea.
Security is a layered approach. Just like in your house, you have a door with a lock, you have an alarm, you have various things that you do, not just one thing. And so security is the same way as it relates to your cyber presence on the internet.
Back here live, remember what Matt says. If you got one of these letters, whether it's from the City of Detroit data breach or from, say, Corwell's data breach, I got, I think, several of those at this point. You all get the same thing. We will offer you, a year of free credit monitoring. It's not automatic. You have to go online, you have to fill out the information, and more than likely have to put in a PIN. We are live downtown tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Sad to say you need to do that, but very well worth the effort. Exactly. All right, Mara. A former Detroit police officer is due back in court in the death of a senior citizen. Juwan Brown faces manslaughter charges. Prosecutors say Brown was on duty back in September when he was called to the Garden Bowl for help with a customer who was causing problems and was potentially armed. They say Brown punched 71-year-old Daryl Vance after a verbal altercation. The punch knocked Vance to the ground where he hit his head, and he died weeks later. Tomorrow's hearing will determine if there's enough evidence to take it to trial.
The Hawthorne Center in Northville is now being investigated by a state auditor. You may remember the Juvenile Psychiatric Hospital held an unannounced active shooter drill that triggered fear and confusion. A Local 4 investigation first exposed the drill that patients and employees thought was real. They told us they were traumatized. Our reports continued to look at problems inside the facility, and now the state auditor general plans to look into care at the facility as well as this drill. 4 law enforcement agencies responded to the hospital with guns drawn because even police believed it was a real active shooter situation. Sheriff's deputies with a warning tonight after a Macomb County man falls victim to a Detroit Lions ticket fraud scheme on social media.
So much of this we've been watching over these last couple of hot weeks for the Lions. Investigators say the tickets were advertised in a Facebook post. The buyer and seller agreed on a price, arranged for payment through Venmo, but then came the big red flag. The seller wanted more money just to transfer the tickets into the buyer's name. Well, the buyer then realized that something was very wrong and walked into the Macomb County Sheriff's Office to report it. Experts say one of the biggest rules to follow to avoid these kind of scams: never send money to someone you haven't met in person. Meantime, we are learning more about the economic impact the Lions have been making on the city of Detroit.
Estimates say the Lions' first playoff win in 30 years generated $20 million for the local economy. Fans spent that money at restaurants, businesses, on parking, and hotels.
Hotels are doing exceptionally well. We're anticipating that hotel occupancy will be 25% higher than it would otherwise be at this time of year, because people, they don't want to just come downtown, they want to stay downtown, they want to be part of the excitement. All good things are happening right now for the city of Detroit and for Southeast Michigan. You layer that on with a winning Lions team, it just increases the momentum.
And it's really good for these cold winter months as well. Well, the Lions hope to keep the momentum going this Sunday against Tampa Bay. We've got you covered Sunday leading up to the big game here on Local 4.
Hope you'll catch our All-In Playoffs Edition special live from Ford Field starting at noon on Sunday. Bernie will be with us, Hobie, Nick. Sunday at noon, Local 4. We will also stream it live on Local 4 Plus. Been a huge hit nationally, too. Sunday night's game between the Lions and the Rams, highest rated TV show since last year's Super Bowl.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. That's right.